All right, just doing a quick recap video. Which I try to start doing recap videos again. I feel like I need a little bit of closure week to week. Bitch about some bad beats. I always kind of meant the recap video to be kind of licking your wounds, seeing how the week went, things of that nature. So I felt like it just felt a little incomplete if I don't do them. So I'm gonna not try to like break down every game, especially when I only watch a few of them. I'm instead just gonna try to look at what I was looking at and what went well, what went wrong. Kind of going back to the basics as far as that goes. So first off, the tier 1 bets ended up going 50-50 on these. So first game, 49ers at Seahawks. I went big on the 49ers this past week. Just thinking that shutdown defense was going to come through, give Russell some trouble, and I thought they'd be able to run the ball on a bad Hawks defense. And it seems like maybe if they started Nick Mullins, it might have worked out that way. He ended up putting up some points in the fourth quarter. But man, it seems like nothing can go right this season for the 49ers. They lose George Kittle for unknown amount of time. I think he's going on IR. Same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. So it's going to be a Nick Mullins show for a while if he doesn't get benched again. And they're having all kinds of problems this week too. I believe some COVID stuff. So I'll save that for my prediction video, picks video that's coming up next. Probably avoiding that game regardless. But anyway, I was hot on the 49ers +3. Game ended up finishing up 27-37. DK Metcalf made some big plays. So 49ers didn't cover, didn't win outright like I was kind of expecting them to. I don't know. Sometimes things like that happen, I guess. I can't predict everything. 49ers just having an unlucky season. It happens a lot to the losing Super Bowl team. So not much to say about that. Raiders at Browns. This is one I was hot on. It ended up not going. So the Raiders were underdogs, 2.5 point underdogs, and I thought they should have been favored. They ended up winning this game 16-6, but not quite in the fashion I was expecting. Baker struggled again, and the passing game was needed and it didn't really work out, but was not expecting a low scoring affair. I think this one had a lot to do with weather. So really not a lot to take away, I guess, looking forward, because you're not expecting that kind of weather again. It's kind of, there's only so much you can analyze, when there's strange factors like that at play. And yeah, Trent Brown, the left tackle for the Raiders, ended up missing this game at the last minute. So that was kind of unexpected and frustrating, because the Josh Jacobs owner in fantasy, he had a great game but didn't get a touchdown. So yeah, he's been a bit of a bit of a disappointment. If you own him, you understand what I'm saying. I always want just a little bit more from him. Another tier 1 bet I had, Vikings at Packers. So I ended up missing this one too. I think me, like a lot of people, liked the Packers to win this one. Packers were -6.5 point favorites at Lambeau Field. And you can't make this shit up. The Vikings go out and upset. Luckily, I've reeled back from betting against my Vikings, especially in a week like this where it's a rivalry game, in Lambeau, kind of against all odds. I don't know, you got to kind of pick your battles. And at the end of the day, I was talking to a friend, and at the end of the day, at least for me, when I do sports betting, it's a hobby. I'm not doing it as a business or anything like that, and I'm a fan first. And sports betting is just trying to do something for fun, right? It's fun to pick games and have a little money on the line, and watch these games with a little more of a vested interest. So if you're not going to have fun analyzing and picking a game, then just don't touch it. Don't pick against your favorite team if you don't want to. I think that's perfectly fine. I'm still going to look and break them down. I just think when it comes to actually putting money behind these bets, I'm probably going to try to avoid the Vikings so I can cheer for them without a guilty conscience kind of tugging at the back of my head. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. So missed on that one, Vikings upset, Packers don't cover. Surprising. I don't know what to expect from the Packers going forward, because now they've dropped two games kind of unexpectedly, um, or I guess just not in impressive fashion. But I don't know. I think they kind of get a toss up this Thursday. Again, I'll talk about that in my next one. I mean, just crazy things going on with Thursday Night Football. We'll see if it even happens, but I think it will. Cowboys at Eagles. Another tier one bet. Nothing to say here. Cowboys bad. Eagles struggled for a bit. Kind of got in their own way, but ended up covering the 8.5 points. Finished up on 9-23 in favor of the Eagles. Tier two bets. Just kind of pick and choose these ones that I want to talk about. First one. Chargers at Broncos. So this is one I cautioned people against. I ended up taking the Chargers -3. But I was hesitant. I was preaching caution just because the Chargers, the track record they have of being a losing football team and going into Mile High, division opponent, I could see could see weird things happening. And lo and behold, they end up losing this on a final drive. Was it OT? Might have been. I think it was just final drive touchdown by Drew Lock to Hamler. I ended up seeing this game or that as it happened and. I mean, exciting. I mean, I guess I'm kind of a peripheral fan of both those quarterbacks, like kind of following the Broncos as a team that's had some troubles this year, following the Chargers, watching Justin Herbert have a hell of a rookie year. Just keeps, it's amazing you can lose games and play that well. It's just, you look at the box score and you try to figure out how they lose. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, preach caution, and there was definitely something to it. Patriots at Bills. Oh man, the Bills are just falling apart. I called the Patriots cover, and the Patriots were 3.5 point underdogs. They ended up covering by just 0.5 point. So I mean, close one, I guess, but kind of went the way I expected it to. Like the Bills are kind of falling apart. Patriots still have enough pieces there to be a formidable defense. So. Definitely gave them some trouble. Titans at Bengals. This is one of the ones I wanted to talk about. What the hell is going on with the Titans, man? I mean, I understand. I mean, they lost their left tackle, Taylor Lewan. So I thought that was gonna, really affect them, especially against, other playoff caliber teams. But going into the Bengals, I thought they'll be all right. And I mean, the Bengals had a bad defense up to this point. Offense has been. I mean, they've just been throwing. Joe Burrow trying to keep him in games, but it just seemed like it was the Bengals' day. They kind of exerted their will with Giovanni Bernard running on the Titans, and the Titans' defense, they just released Jonathan Joseph and what's the other guy's name? Can't remember it. You can look it up. Just released another free agent signing they had. The Titans defense is just, I don't know what happened from last year to this year, but they are just not even close to formidable. So I think that's trouble, spelling forward. They're becoming kind of an inconsistent team. I'm kind of shocked. I mean, they were originally -6 point favorites, end up losing this one 31-20. And I mean, a lot of their stars had decent days. I mean, Derrick Henry had over 100 yards, a touchdown, over 6 yards a carry. Kind of hard to figure out how they ended up losing, when you look at the stat sheet, at least, it seems like they had a decent day, but I don't know what's going on with them. They're going to be hard to pick going forward because they're still, I think, have enough pieces there to be a good football team, and they're scrappy, with Vrabel and Tannehill as the coach. I still like them to hang in most of the games they play this year, and either win close or lose close, but it's hard to have a ton of confidence after that. I don't know. Really, the other thing is I'm really interested in what happens to the Bengals here because their last 3 games, I was just looking this up, their last 3 games, so they upset the Bengals here, they lost close to the Browns the week before, and they lost close to the Colts, who are a pretty decent team the week prior. And now they're going into the bye, and I think they have a much easier schedule. They're playing the NFC East, Washington, Giants, Dolphins, Cowboys coming out of the bye, Texans on the schedule. They got a couple tough division games with the Steelers, but man, coming out of the bye, they could be, I think if they're starting to figure things out, if this is, these last 3 games is anything of a prediction of things to come, They could be a pretty strong team coming out of the bye and kind of finish in the middle of the pack. I don't know. Interesting to see if Joe Burrow can rattle off some wins uh, in the second half of the season here. Another game, Bucks at Giants. This one was just frustrating. I'm sure. I mean, I was having kind of a bad week with just the way the bets laid out. Titans and Packers ended up ruining a lot of my parlays with kind of those unexpected parlays and teasers. Unexpected upsets there. Just something I had no idea was going to happen, and then so I kind of chased a little bit going into Monday Night Football. I think it was Monday night. Uh, Titans or the Bucks at Giants, and then I don't know, the Bucks. This is the kind of the second time this year they did it again. They did it against the Bears as well, where it's just like, what Bucks team is this? I don't know. They struggled hard against the Giants. Were losing for a chunk of that game, and then they ended up coming back and winning, but clearly not covering the. They ended up winning 25-23, but they didn't cover that minus double digit spread that was being laid out there, and maybe that's on me. I mean, maybe I think if you look back at the Giants' schedule, their defense has been okay. Joe Judge is doing some things right. A lot of their games have kind of been lower scoring, so maybe I should have predicted that even with the Bucks win, it might not be a blowout. But I was pretty confident in the Bucks covering, and it didn't happen that way. Last tier two bet, that I was kind of taking was Steelers Ravens. Ended up going the Steelers' way. Lamar had a rough day against that defense, so that was kind of all as expected. I am getting a little concerned about the Steelers' offense. Big Ben kind of been quiet all year in terms of that big arm and what we've seen in the past from him. They've been getting by, but I'm not sure if we're really seeing the progression with him, or if we're seeing him kind of struggling through coming back from that elbow and really staying at the same level, or even declining a little bit as you get some more miles on that arm. And they don't have a bye. They lost their bye early in the season when they were playing the Titans, and that game got rescheduled. So we'll see what happens. Starting to get a little concerned, though. I don't know if Steelers fans are. And then to try to speed things up, the rest of the games I had were avoids. Falcons Panthers. This was last Thursday night. It's a good thing I avoided. I would have picked the wrong side in 4 out of these 5. So probably a good thing they were on my avoids list. I just would have been throwing money away. Falcons at Panthers. I was on the Panthers minus 2.5. Falcons ended up upsetting. Only thing I have to say about this game is if you would have told me the Falcons upset, I would have expected more of an offensive explosion. And that game ended up being a kind of a slog fest. Not very fun football to watch, in my opinion. And cheap hit on Teddy. It was kind of frustrating to watch. Colts at Lions. Colts ended up blowing up. 41-21. I don't know what to do with the Colts right now. I mean, they've been kind of inconsistent. They've been struggling against some mediocre teams, and then I guess they have kind of a blow up game here against a mediocre team. So they're a hard team to trust. We'll see what happens with them going forward. Saints at Bears. Quietly, I mean, I would have picked the Saints minus 4. Quietly, the Bears end up covering this one. Final score 26-23. Bears end up covering, and I'm probably betting on the Bears this next week, and I'm sure they'll burn me because I cannot. I think the Bears and the Rams are 2 teams I just can't seem to pick right this year. Like, whenever I'm invested in either which one of them, they go out and lay an egg. So just frustrating. Speaking of which, Rams at Dolphins. I was kind of on the Rams side. Rams were minus 4.5 point favorites. Tua in his first start. Wasn't expecting him to light the world on fire, and he didn't. The Rams just completely imploded. I think there were some defensive touchdowns, some special teams touchdowns. Dolphins didn't have to do a lot to win this one. Just frustrating. Good thing I didn't have any money riding on it. Would not have been fun. And then lastly, the Jets at Chiefs. Chiefs were favored minus 19.5, and they comfortably covered that. Final score 9-35. Only thing to say about that is if you are a fantasy owner of any of the Chiefs' backfield, man, that was kind of frustrating. They decided they were just going to throw the ball. Didn't get anything done on the ground despite, being a blowout victory. Just kind of weird. Again, I mean, we've seen this kind of in the past. I think the Chiefs' defense's their play can really oscillate, and their offense, their run blocking, especially in short yardage, is bad. And I I think down the stretch and in the playoffs, that is going to be a problem. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, tough to try to pick against the Chiefs or Mahomes, but I think they got some issues they got to figure out. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm gonna throw this one up, and then I'll probably record my recap video and post that, or not a recap, my picks video, post that in the morning. Check out my Twitter at Favorite Fade, and feel free to comment with just kind of any comments on the last week, any bad beats. I'm always interested to see it. Thanks.